Hey, how's it going, friends? Thank you for tuning in to VR Revelations. Welcome. Please make sure you give the video a like and make sure you subscribe for future coverage. So let's jump right into it. It is May 2nd, the year of our Lord 2023, and it looks like Ukraine is all but finished in Bakhmut. They are literally just holding one small part of the city. Now, they are holding on to it. It looks like Zelensky might be looking to launch an offensive, this famously rumored offensive that has been rumored for the last couple of months. It looks like, according to rumors, that it's getting ready to be launched, and it might be aimed at Bakhmut. Why? Because literally Bakhmut has become Zelensky's Achilles heel, right? The United States a couple of months ago advised Zelensky not to stubbornly hold on to Bakhmut, to retreat his forces, to let the city go, and to save them for a future battle. Zelensky decided to not heed that advice and double down in Bakhmut, and it has cost him greatly. Of course, there's rumors that it has also cost Russia greatly. It's undeniable that Russia has expended a lot of resources in Bakhmut also. But as we saw in recent governmental leaks, according to U.S. reports, the casualties for Ukraine are a lot higher than they are for Russia. And it also seems that Russia wasn't necessarily trying to rush through Bakhmut. Again, Zelensky and his generals touted Bakhmut as an impregnable fortress, so it's not like it was an easy city to take. Again, Russia's military is superior, no doubt, to Ukraine, but Ukraine was one of the most formidable armies in Europe, right? A lot of the Russian critics seem to miss that point, right? When they try and criticize Russia for taking so long to capture Bakhmut. And also, it seems that they don't take into account that Ukraine would have been done if it wasn't for the support they've received from NATO and all these other nations, right? Russia has been very clear in their understanding that they are not just confronting Ukraine, but also NATO and the United States and England, according to what the Russia has actually said. So it's not an easy task here, what has been taking place in Bakhmut. But as we can clearly see by this pro-Ukrainian map, which I have used many a times, Russia has been successful in taking this impregnable fortress, as Ukraine has stated it was. And again, this is a pro-Ukrainian map. They are being a little bit generous here. I did use another map that was a little bit more sincere with the actual situation, but it looks like yours truly, Google, took it down, right? But this map, usually they tend to be pretty honest. They take a little bit to actually update it. As of right now, the Ukrainian forces really just hold about this area of the city here to the western of Bakhmut. So it's just a small percentage, about 5 to 10% of Bakhmut. And really, they're having a tough time holding on here, and they're going to be pushed out. Okay, they've been pushed out of the rest of the city. They're going to be pushed out of what's remaining here unless Zelensky launches this rumored offensive here within the next couple of days directly at Bakhmut, which really would not be very smart of him. But again, he decided to act contrary to what the U.S. was advising him and pulling out of Bakhmut and doubled down. So it wouldn't be surprising if Zelensky decides to throw whatever remaining forces he has at Bakhmut in order to achieve some sort of short-term victory there. But it's very unlikely. Again, there's been rumors that Russia has been running out of ammunitions and resources, which is contrary to what's happening on the battlefield. In the last couple of hours and days, they launched a whole bunch of missiles over Ukraine, with rumors stating that a lot of those missiles hit munition targets, ammunitions that supposedly Ukraine was storing in order for this offensive. So we're yet to see how that's going to affect this offensive that Ukraine is supposedly launching. But it's very interesting here because the Ukrainian forces just hold a small part of the city, And, we have the May 9th parade coming in Russia. Now, they're going to celebrate Russia's victory over Nazi Germany. Now, you might not want to admit it or hear it, but it was the Russians who entered Berlin solely alone and reached Hitler, even though Hitler decided to kill himself rather than falling into the Russians' hands. There was an agreement between all the Allied nations, and they decided to allow Russia to enter the capital of Nazi Germany, Berlin, alone. And they were the first to do so and reach the bunker where Hitler was. There's that famous picture of Russia raising the Soviet Union flag over Berlin. And again, that was Hitler's great mistake, Operation Barbarossa, right? Which was the operation that saw, the million-plus army, the most formidable army that we had seen in history up until that point, the largest offensive we had ever seen, launched by a terrifying enemy, Nazi Germany, into Russia. They actually reached all the way to Moscow, but couldn't reach the city exactly. And then, they expended the majority of their force. They had to retreat out of Russia, and they never recovered from that. Russia launched its offensive. Then you had England pushing from another side. The United States joined. But it was the Russians that had the major, the major part of that victory over Nazi Germany, and they were the first to reach Berlin. And it looks like, that's exactly what, Zelensky might be thinking here, right? Launching a sort of major offensive here into directly into Bakhmut, since Zelensky has made such a big deal out of the city. But again, it's very highly unlikely that this offensive is going to recapture all of this territory, guys. They just don't have the capability any longer. They might have not had the capability even if they had the army they had at the beginning of the war. So it's likely not to be very fruitful. It's probably going to be more of a PR stunt, right, in order to show the West, that Ukraine is capable of achieving some sort of victory. But it could turn out to be very disastrous for Zelensky if he doesn't sit down and really think hard about this offensive. But yeah, that is the situation right now. What I'm expecting is that since Russia is getting ready to celebrate, their victory over Nazi Germany on May 9th, is that they're probably going to ramp up their aggressiveness here in order to try and push the remaining forces that are in Bakhmut out of this remaining area, in order to have it coincide with their parade. Again, Russia isn't saying this. Russia isn't giving any deadlines. There's been a lot of speculation, a lot of false propaganda out there saying that Russia has failed time and time again to meet their deadlines in Bakhmut. But President Putin has never given a deadline for the special military operation or for their ongoing conflict here in Bakhmut. This is just the West making up these dates or relying on external commentary, right? But we've never gotten any official dates from Russia's government themselves. And again, Ukraine itself touted that this was an impregnable fortress, right? They had one of the most formidable armies in Europe. They've been receiving support from NATO, from the US, from these other countries. So it's no small task what is going on here. And, this is the reason why this battle has been going on for so many months. However, as we can clearly see, Ukraine is losing here. Russia continues to advance, and they are going to take Bakhmut, guys. Make no mistake about it. Just like they took Soledar right up here, even though the West and Ukraine tried to deny it for as long as they could, it's going to fall. And once it does, Zelensky was right. Russia is going to be able to expand out of this, take Chasiz Yar, all these other towns around here. They're going to then focus on Kramatorsk and Slavyansk up here. their next objectives in this military special operation. And who knows where it will go from there. We'll see what happens with Zelensky. Again, Zelensky's worries was that once Bakhmut falls, he will lose the support of the Ukrainian people since they will be discouraged, and he'll also lose support from Western nations. So he's probably right in that, right? And so that's probably what's going to happen. But anyways, let's take a quick read here from this New York Times article reporting on the situation. It says, Russia and Ukraine each claim gains in Bakhmut. The fight for Bakhmut, the ruined city in the Donbass region of eastern Ukraine, has become a focal point of the war as both sides have poured troops into battle and sustained heavy casualties. Now, according to the leaks and according to the U.S., the casualties are a lot higher for the Ukrainians, even though they like to state otherwise. Bakhmut is viewed as a springboard for President Vladimir Putin's stated aim of seizing the entire Donbass, while for Ukraine it has become a symbol of resistance. This year, Russia seized towns and villages to the north and south of Bakhmut, entering the city itself and forcing Ukraine to defend a shrinking slice of urban ground, as signs grew that Ukraine might be forced to retreat. The latest, both sides have cited claims in recent days. Though the claims could not be verified, the commander of Ukrainians' Eastern Group of Forces, General Alexander Zursky, said in comments reported on Monday that Russia had been forced to withdraw from some positions in some parts of the city. Again, very vague. You see this a lot from the Ukrainian government. We saw this in Soledar as Russia was conquering that city. They made a lot of these vague statements that it wasn't true, that they were pushing back, until it was a foregone conclusion that Russia had in fact taken control of the totality of Soledar. So we're sort of seeing that type of propaganda repeat here in Bakhmut. On Saturday, a Ukrainian army spokesman said that Russian forces had failed to capture a key road running west to the town of Chasiz Yar, which Kyiv's forces have used to send in reinforcements and supplies. In contrast, Yevgeny Prigozhin, the founder of the Wagner militia that has spearheaded much of Russia's fighting in Bakhmut, said over the weekend that Russian forces had advanced hundreds of yards in several directions, leaving Ukraine in control of ground equivalent to just a few city blocks. Russia's defense ministry said on Monday that airborne troops and assault units were pinning Ukrainian forces back in the western part of the city. So again, you have both sides, making statements, but we can sort of verify the actual situation on the ground when we actually take a look, at information from sources such as this map here, which is pro-Ukrainian, guys. This is in favor of Ukraine, and we can clearly see that they even have to admit or report on the actual situation on the ground, which clearly shows us that, yes, Russia has taken control of the majority of the city, and the Ukrainian forces are now pinned to just the last couple of blocks here in Bakhmut. Now, the only hope here for Ukraine is that Zelensky gives the order to launch an offensive and aims it directly at Bakhmut. Then they probably will be able to push Russia a couple of blocks back because of the offensive, because of the, of the mass of soldiers, right? Unless Russia, decides to go all in and just launches missile after missile and uses some of their hypersonic weapons, then it would be a complete disaster for Zelensky. So, he really has to sit down and analyze the situation, because if he does decide to triple down here on Bakhmut and launch this offensive directly into the city, it could be very catastrophic, and it could be a death trap for the offensive, and it could be the final death blow to his hold on power there in Ukraine. So it would probably not be a great idea. Russia might be looking to bait Zelensky into launching an offensive here. But again, what I'm assuming here is that Russia is looking to take control of the totality of Bakhmut to coincide with their victory parade over Nazi Germany on May 9th. So we definitely got to keep a close eye here in the next couple of days, because we could be seeing reports of a complete victory for Russia in Bakhmut, which is Zelensky's worst nightmare, as he himself has admitted. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know what you think is going to happen here. Let me know if you believe Russia will be able to take control of the city to coincide with their victory over Nazi Germany and their parade on May 9th. Let me know if you think maybe Zelensky will launch his offensive in order to stop this this complete capture of Bakhmut. And remember, the truth is stranger than fiction. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.